Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of The Drunken Tomes. I am your host, Caleb Schweiss.
Caleb Craig.
Cameron.
And Zach.
And today we are reviewing... Whose book was this again?
Mine.
Cameron's.
Yeah.
All right, we're reviewing Cameron's book, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Sans booze.
Or Blade Runner, retitled afterwards, because nothing sells a book like a movie that never sold. Yeah, book's been out for a while. It came out in 1968, written by Philip K. Dick, and the audio version was read by, was it Scott Brick? Is that his name? Yeah. He sounds, I mean, if you ever thought a brick was exciting, he'll prove you wrong. This fucking thing, audio-wise, very boring.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how much is him.
Yeah. I don't know if the book itself, it's just a different kind of book, written for a previous time, in my opinion.
It's like a slow burner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the movie's is actually a lot better.
It is
than the book.
Yeah.
I
mean, this book it feels like it gets hung up on several different points. It doesn't get to the action, and when the action happens, it's just over super fast.
Right. Well, the action is like sometimes it takes like 4 chapters to like get up to it, and then the action is
it was really
2
just,
sentences and it's done.
Yeah, it's literally
and he fired his
2
gun
sentences.
and it's dead, and you're like,
it was really just like an exploration of like religion and how androids and how post-apocalyptic world kind of feed into that type of religion.
There was a lot of like,
Mercerism and stuff like that.
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. There was a lot of topics that it was like trying to go into at once, and I feel like it failed because of that.
Right. And it tried to
Yeah.
go into like rights too for like different people and why things should deserve just to live, but it doesn't really ever hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
with that, in my opinion.
It danced around
Yeah.
the topic without actually trying to tackle it.
So it was almost really cool multiple times.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then it was like, I don't know.
And I feel like the movie fleshes out the idea a little bit better.
Yeah. My favorite part in this whole thing, though, was my own little fantasy that I came up with, because there was a part where this guy, he like talks about how there was this sheep that kept malfunctioning in the night, and it kept like baaing like endlessly. And I just came up with this idea. I was like, dude, I could just see Craig like with like a fucking flock of malfunctioning sheep, and he's just like out there yelling at it like, dude, stop baaing, man. I'm trying to fucking sleep in there, and you're just out here just baaing all night.
I thought you were going to go a different direction with that.
Yeah, I thought
Just
you were
like
going to say glitch
Craig,
too.
You know, Craig,
fucking
Craig,
glitch!
Craig glitching with the sheep and bawing out there with them. the shepherd of the broken sheep.
Fucking click, 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 click. It's Craig on all fours, just So I thought that was really funny, but it was only funny because I made it funny. Otherwise, like, no, not really all that funny. It's weird though, because the first guy. So the premise of the book, if you haven't seen Blade Runner or read the book, androids exist in this world. It's supposed to be like, I think it's originally 1992 is what it is. But they later made it 2020.
We got ripped off.
Yeah, seriously. So there are androids among people. Earth is basically destroyed due to, I guess, pollution.
World War Terminus.
Oh no, that's right, World War. Yeah,
World War Terminus.
so it's like back in the Cold War. Everyone's afraid of nuclear annihilation. This is kind of like the fallout from that.
Yeah. And then they all emigrated to Mars, or most people that were deemed fit emanated to Mars. Or
Yeah,
emigrated.
so non-poor people.
Shut up, Cameron.
Inseminated to Mars.
Sorry, emigrated to Mars.
But our main character, Rick Deckard, a very boring bounty hunter, has not moved to Mars. He lives there with his wife, another boring person.
Named Iran.
Yeah, and he's a cop, and he's
a bounty hunter.
A bounty hunter, yeah, not a cop. He's like his
I have
own.
an idea of why people are so boring too, but we can get to it.
Yeah. So in there, he's basically a bounty hunter, and he's what his new thing is. He wants to get a pet. He wants to get a real life animal, and like it's
An animal is a status symbol.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And he did have a real life one at one point, but it got sick and died.
yeah, and they have to take care of animals because it's like part of their religion.
Empathy.
Of mercerism.
Empathy's a big player in this, where it's like if you're not empathic, then you're an android. and that's a no-go.
Yeah, and people are like, it's like the, what is it, the fifth day or something like that with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he finds out that the guy you've been following all along is actually the robot, except for it has a happy ending where like they kind of have like take turns with the family. It's kind of like that, where like you think it has this weird question of like, what is life, that it of course dances around and never actually touches on, because the book fucking kind of blows. But
well, I think the reason why people are really boring is because they have to make themselves feel a certain way all the time. They don't feel their own feelings anymore. They hook up to a machine.
The empathy box.
See,
The empathy box
the
to
empathy
feel
box and
their
the mood
feelings.
organs, like
The mood organ.
I thought that was kind of dumb,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like they made it seem like it's a thing that not everybody has because it was like an expensive piece of machinery.
No. Remember, everyone's got.
Well, I mean, even Isidore had
Even-
Well,
it.
everyone
even
has
Isidore.
everyone has the empathy box, but not everybody has the mood organ.
Right, but but the empathy box is the same
get your
thing. It
mood
helps you
organ.
feel. It's a way of like mind controlling it. It seemed like to me in the book, because when they held the empathy box, it made them feel a certain way and made them feel like they were collectively like with everyone. And it
Yeah.
was like, no, join this. And so, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Like you're not allowed to feel your own feelings because it's dangerous.
yeah, I thought that stuff was really stupid too.
I just the moods that they go through, like the mood or the desire to watch TV, no matter what's on. It's just like,
But it's the same
why
thing.
Is so
it's
minute.
It's Buster friendly every time.
It's Buster friendly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Who's
there
fucking
there
an
were no
android.
other, and there were no other like TVs like shows or anything else going on.
No, and I think as well it shows how important this was to like the culture. And I think that might have been one of the points he was trying to make in 1960 was like mass like television and like just mindlessly watching, because even people who
it's
didn't
done
have
better
the
in
money,
other books,
right? But even the people who didn't have access to like all this big stuff or shouldn't have, like Isidore in his broken down apartment had access to a television.
Yeah.
And it's been done better in other things, but that's one of the points I think he was trying to make too,
yeah.
is because it shows like how much electronics they're relying on daily to feel a certain way.
Yeah, I thought the empathy box and the mood organ and the religion were all really stupid. Everything else, though, I really liked. And I guess the religion kind of makes sense because, like they were saying, it's kind of their way to, like, inject humanity within their day-to-day. And the same thing with the empathy box. But I don't know. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then they started talking about, like, channels. And I was like, oh, God, my, like, fucking eyes just rolled down my asshole. Like, they just fucking, they, like, clanged down my fucking, yeah, they're... And then I was staring up at my taint. Like I was so fucking bored when they started doing that stuff. I was just like, oh, this is so
It
dumb.
was kind of the same point when they started telling you how much animals costed too. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's like a whole like chapter with how
Oh,
animals
dude,
price.
he does it all the time. Every
To
time
me-
he encounters
Yeah.
a new
That owl,
animal, he's
that
like,
owl.
"Oh, I gotta check my fucking
Your Kelly's Blue Book.
I gotta look through my little
But to
fucking
me, that's
thing."
just very like
It's a shitty
it's
Pokedex.
interesting, just because he's trying to take what he feel like from his time. The author's taking from like from his time. Catalogs are a huge thing,
Yeah.
and then he's trying to move that into a
Implement them in
future
the
that
future.
he doesn't know about. He has no idea that catalogs.
I mean,
are a thing.
see,
Yeah.
Right.
I don't mind that,
'Cause
but
we can
the
just-
fact that he like kept pulling it out like every
Yeah.
goddamn 2 seconds, and then like
maybe that's
he
what
goes,
they did.
He
back
goes
then.
to
Who
that
knows?
like the what is that called? The building that had like where he was going to do the test on the androids or whatever.
Oh, I know you're talking about. I
He
can't remember
goes
those
there,
ones.
and
It's the Rosen
they have,
Associ-
like-
the Rosen
Yeah,
Association.
they have like the advanced catalog, and he's like, "You can't have this," and then he ends up using it. He just like takes it for himself.
yeah, because he's
like
a
an
dick.
asshole.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing.
It's like it's illegal to own this.
Oh, I'm a
Started
cop.
trading
I'm a
to know
cop,
what-
so I'm
what
gonna take
animals
this.
are now worth.
Yeah,
Such
it's
a dick.
What I think was interesting too is like throughout the thing, like they start finding animals that are supposed to be extinct as well, and some of them do end up being like robotic, but some of them
That
aren't.
whole scene near the end when he finds that frog.
yeah.
fucking
You
dumb.
never knew whether or not it was like Isidore with his spider that wasn't actually there, or was the frog there? Wasn't there? I feel like it was, but we'll never know.
The spider was there.
I thought the frog was
Remember
because
how it said the
because
spider kept getting bigger and bigger until the whole scene with Isidore?
the spider was. I thought the spider was real until he went into the empathy box.
Well, yeah,
because
when he
the
went up
androids
to that point but
killed the
then-
spider.
But then, fucking what's his name? The Messiah.
Yeah, it's not Mercer. Was it Mercer?
Yeah, that's Mercer.
Yeah.
Mercer. Yeah. Until then, he started making Isidore hallucinate. Was that the only solution to make him feel better?
Probably he's a special.
He replaced
And then how does
he
Mercer-
replaced the spider with like an electric spider? Or
It
something
never
or whatever.
explains how they communicate to Mercer. They hook up to this thing
No,
that makes
and-
it feel like it's VR or something like that, but then it can affect them outside of
Yeah,
it.
and then but
they
you
can
see
get
things
hit.
too. They give you things. So yeah, they never
Yeah.
explain how that works.
Yeah, it is kind of like a VR
Well,
thing.
no, they just hold on to the like.
Yeah, but how
on
does
the
it
side
happen
of the
when
box.
Isidore and
Right, but when he-
Rickard or
Rickard?
Deckard see Mercer outside, and then that whole
Well,
point
I mean,
where
Mercer is still
Decker
a
feels
dude.
like he's merged with Mercer.
Mercer's like supposed to be the Messiah, isn't he? Like, isn't
Yeah.
that kinda
I mean, he's still a guy, though. Craig's right. He's like still
he was
alive.
still yeah
He's still a guy, but how is he affecting physical things when he shouldn't be?
because
able
I think everyone is androids.
to, yeah, that
I think
makes
everyone
sense.
is androids, and everyone just doesn't know it
That makes a lot of sense. Actually.
because they're doing things they shouldn't be doing. They're seeing things they shouldn't be feeling, and like they go into a point where it's the facial features with feeling empathy. That's how you tell they're androids.
That's why they're
But
so
if they have
hung
to
up on empathy.
but if they have to manufacture empathy, and they're not feeling emotions, like they have to like touch these things. I don't think they're real people. I think they're all androids, and like the entire Earth is
I
just
think
a lie.
the author just didn't think things through. And
I
try
think
to
you're not being
explain
fun,
anything.
Craig.
Well,
Because like the fucking androids themselves aren't actually androids. Because if you were an android, that implies that you're a goddamn robot. But if you're not a fucking robot, then you're not an android.
well, isn't Android like mixed?
No,
Or
that's
is
a
it just-
cyborg.
oh,
It's
yeah,
called
you're
half
right.
gas.
An android is a robot that's in the shape of a human
Yeah,
being.
yeah, okay.
But the androids, quote unquote, are actually just like cloned beings.
Yeah,
that
they're
they
like
have,
humans,
They
yeah.
have controlled fucking like brain.
You have to
Stuff.
dig real
Like,
deep
Did they
to figure
have-
out.
You have to do a fucking bone marrow scan in order to even tell whether or
But
not they're
did-
an android.
Did they have the word like cyborg in the 60s? I know that sounds stupid, but like, did they have
I
a way to
think
say it?
so.
And that's the thing I want to think. I go back to is like because it's an entirely different time, and so I'm not sure like
They
what
had-
terminology would be had, and I don't see why
When
it
was
wouldn't
Metropolis made?
I don't know.
Because I think that's the one that had that first. But anyway,
be. But I mean, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I have no idea, but I mean, you're right. Like they're manufactured beings. That's why I think everyone's a manufactured being on that planet. Then, or
yeah, but like
android.
they're not actually robots, which made me mad that they kept calling them androids. But
not the fact that they were just retiring them because they were dicks.
what?
They're retiring the androids.
I think
I was also like, if they have the technology to like literally make human beings like that, why do they have electric animals?
yeah, that's true.
because I mean, it
Like,
says
seriously, what the fuck?
in the book that androids can only live for about like 4 years or something like that.
yeah,
Oh,
they,
And
yeah,
then the
but-
animals the electric animals can live a little bit longer with service.
Yeah,
Like
I like how they kill a cat in like the middle of the book though, like a real life one trying to fix it 'cause he thinks it's an android.
yeah, that was pretty funny.
trying to get its tray open.
yeah.
Funny.
yeah,
That was a
it's terrible.
sad moment. That's
It
the
was
moment
super
you
sad.
really realize that Isidore is literally like,
Retarded.
Handicap.
yeah, is
Yeah.
retarded. Like he's.
I think my favorite part about that whole situation too is the owner was like, "Oh, this was bound to happen." And you're like, why didn't you figure out something to stop it?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you know what you're about, dipshit.
Yeah, you know that your employee is like.
Well, you know that you only
Struggling.
You're not real vets. You're working on mechanical things. And it's like, oh, it's bound to happen.
Yeah, I
What?
think Isidore's character is way better than
Oh yeah, he totally is.
Rick's.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Rick Deckard.
Rick was,
and I wish it would be more like
didn't
noir.
have enough range. He was just
An android.
he was an android. He was depressed and wanted to kill androids. Isidore had a much larger range
Yeah,
Until
of
he got-
humanity.
Until they got some of that sweet android Plutang.
yeah. Think it's got the vibration function in
one,
there.
one thing he said, just don't think about it. It'll be easier if you don't think about that I'm an android. I'm like, bitch, man, there's people here around today that would fucking go to town.
Yeah.
An android.
And she still wouldn't love him.
No.
Man, it's even better.
Yeah.
Interesting too that she's such a like. She's like, oh, I slept with like what's his name? What's the other detective's name?
Oh, that, yeah.
The one with the
Android detective?
Resh, the one with the scroll and stuff. Where she's just like,
Yeah.
oh, and I slept with him too, and then but he's the only one that I've ever slept with that can still kill androids after. Like, how magical is your vagina?
Yeah.
You are retiring bounty hunters.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it.
She's retiring him with love.
Yeah. Do you
Fake
think?
love.
Do you think it smells like diesel?
Burnt oil.
No, because they're not actually androids.
Oh, so it just smells like pussy, I guess.
Yeah,
But it probably always has that clean car smell.
yeah.
It
It's
never smells bad.
I wanna-
again, not actually a robot.
I could just imagine him narrating that part. Deckard looked for the hanging little tree thing hanging off of her ass, but he never actually ran into it. Where's your air freshener?
It would be hanging around her neck, if anything. Be like a necklace.
He grabbed the oil dipstick and
What's keeping this fresh?
the elation on her face.
No, but I didn't think about them being clones, though, Craig. That actually makes a lot more sense.
Well, that's what they said. Like the whole time they were like talking about it. It's like the only way to tell whether or not they're human or not.
Yeah.
I just
Is
thought
if they
were
do a
just
bone marrow test, and I
manufactured-
was like,
And they had to
If
do that
they
to
have
every
to-
retiring
if
because
they have to
sometimes you
do a
can't tell.
bone marrow test, that means that they aren't robots.
Yeah, it's
because
like-
they have bone
How do you-
marrow
how do you
and they have
explain-
bones,
How do you
and that
explain
would
the
mean
differences in their processors, though? These new units, because even in
it would just be
that section of androids that got released that were taking up,
The
with
Nexus
Isidore,
6?
the Nexus 6 androids, there was even a difference amongst them because the one dude who was in charge, the fat guy android, he was more like a laborer, and he was very not very precise with his movements. He was just much more robot-like than the other androids. Is because it made sure to mention that.
I don't know. I think it's mostly because like they have a certain way to like change their brains,
I think
and they like update it like every now and then when they see like what's wrong. And like
Somebody check
they
my
don't
brain.
they don't explain anything on like how they do anything. Like
you're-
it
it is all inferred.
it's all inferred, and like that,
I mean,
that's
I
another
like
thing.
the
It's
clone
like,
idea, but there was still enough a difference between Nexus
Well-
6, Nexus
well,
5.
with you saying it like that, I'm wondering, and it doesn't explain this in the book either, but I wonder if there's different like models for different jobs. It
No,
would
well, that's
seem
exactly what they were
Oh,
saying. That's what he
did
was.
it really?
Yeah, he was a laborer.
Did I
so
forget?
that's
'Cause
why
it
he
took
was,
so long to read it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was definitely prioritized for different kinds of tasks.
Yeah.
And it'd be hard to do that if they're just a straight up clone.
Right.
I think
Nexus
that
6 was made for
part of
pleasure.
them. They are definitely biological, but they're still manufactured in a way they could use cloning to kind of clone the body, but still the mind is still robotic.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
maybe,
I think it is
Yeah.
for sure, but
That would
but then they could just do a brain scan instead of a fucking
but
like
that would explain why they
bone
didn't have
marrow
empathy.
thing.
Unless everyone's androids, and it would give it all away.
yeah, I think the idea is that it's playing with the
Okay,
idea of like what is life.
confuses
sort of a
me,
thing.
and in my opinion is a huge loophole, is the fucking government within a government thing for the androids. How they're in San Francisco, and he's a part of the police department.
Oh,
but then
and
there's
there's,
a
like, the
separate
separate-
police department
yeah.
that they didn't even know anything
But that
about.
one's fake.
And I know it was fake, but how do they have such an insular, enclosed society that no one else knew
That-
about right next door?
That's what I was wondering too, because I was actually thinking about that like a few minutes.
Well, it
ago.
wasn't right next door.
But-
it was
but
like
no,
downtown or
But
like
there's
in
not
the middle of the
there's
city
not
or
that many
something like
people
that.
on Earth anymore. There's not enough
That's
that it would
true.
make a noticeable difference.
Yeah, you think you'd
Well,
fucking see.
okay.
And then
So-
the androids created this insular society, but then they actually have
Unless-
normal humans at the same time.
I do-
inside the same
unless
society?
people that were noticing it were being killed, because he did say they had killed some
Yeah.
bounty hunters in there.
Yeah, of course. But then why didn't they notice bounty hunters are disappearing in this area?
It's true.
Maybe they are all robots.
I think one of the reasons is like there's a lot of abandoned buildings, because Isidore talks about how
Right.
like he lives in a section of town where like there's nobody there.
Exactly,
Like,
but it's
nobody.
still
Yeah.
like you're having bounty hunters going missing in this certain section of the city. It just doesn't.
I think you know what I wonder if they chalk it up to maybe they were androids, and because of the bone marrow test, because like if someone died, it's like, oh, maybe so and so was retired. Because if they could, because the way in that quote police department, they
It's
routed
just
all the calls,
conjecture.
all the calls back to each other.
Yeah,
So you would imagine if they were that smart to
but
do
even
that,
he
they would
was
have
like,
ways.
even he Deckard was like, didn't have a reason for why this separate police station could exist.
Well, he started thinking he was an android. He started thinking he had false memories. He was having a crisis of like identity during that whole thing, and I wonder if that's how they do it to you.
I thought
Yeah.
that was fucking stupid.
So that
Yeah,
was
do
in the
it to 'em.
movie too, though.
Yeah.
I know it was, but they do it better in the movie. But like in the book, it's just I don't know.
Did you guys see Batista when he was retiring the first android? Because in the 2049 movie, it's Batista as the first guy that he retires, and that's exactly
the
who that
Russian
guy is.
dude?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Oh, that's cool.
It's
Interesting.
I haven't seen 2049. I want to.
I really like 2049 a lot. It's really fucking good. We have it on the Vudu. You guys can watch it.
Dude,
whenever.
do you have the first one on the video? I
I
haven't seen that one in
I
ages,
don't
and I
know
want to
if we
rewatch
do.
it.
I don't know if Craig has that on there.
It's been a long time.
But yeah, I don't know. I liked a lot of it. I liked the themes of it, but I don't think it really fleshed out a lot of stuff.
Well, yeah, it starts a journey, but it never finishes quite right. It
Yeah.
seems like he kind of like
talks
starts ditching things along the way.
One of the things that really pissed me off is like how they always want to be like more empathetic and like all this shit, but then they treat people like Isidore like absolute shit.
Yeah,
But I was like,
It's classist,
why?
but yeah.
no,
I mean, it's partially classist, but at the same time, it's like, okay, there's still like people. Why the fuck are you like this if you like
Right.
prioritize like empathy like you do?
I think the kind of the cool part with him though too is during his little arc, like in the middle, where like the whole he has to like call the person like the pet that they killed. They start respecting him a little bit too because they see what he is capable of,
Yeah.
and it kind of shows that they were wrong.
Because he's a human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think he's the only one that's not a robot, and they just think he's simple because he's not a robot, and so he's not like a computer.
Yeah, I know for real. I think the ones they call specials are the only humans left.
I mean,
And-
he does seem a little retarded, but
And
like,
he's the only one that actually gets like a legit like arc ending in this show because like he actually has growth where he's like, oh, I'm actually going to move more into the city
yeah,
and be with people. Whereas
Yeah.
Rick Deckard's like, well, I'm going to grab this fake toad and it doesn't matter because robots have a life and I'm going to grab this empathy box and make me feel good.
I thought the fusion with Mercer was weird too.
he became a
It
god.
was just no explanation, and I can't even like decipher the symbolism out of that scene. I'm still confused about
Yeah.
how,
It's like,
why.
oh, I fused with Mercer permanently, and then
unless it's
I
like full
happened to
integration.
find a toad, which is like really important to Mercer, and then it's like, oh, it's actually electric.
yeah. I thought that
But
was really.
I'm gonna
dumb.
choose not to care.
It could be. Well, I mean, he was struggling with that from the middle of the book too because of Luba Luft with his feelings for her, like liking what she did, like being the opera singer.
Yeah.
And that's when he does start having his feelings. But I wonder if him being like with Mercer,
I
like
think-
their connection is like him fully integrating with the system and finally letting go of his human traits.
The thing I hate about Rick Deckard though is like, it kind of seems like the only reason he develops empathy for androids is because he wants poontang.
Yeah,
Have you
Because
never-
like he doesn't. It clearly
never
says that he's
underestimate
not.
the power.
It clearly says that he's not fucking his wife, and then he like starts having sexual thoughts towards the opera singer, and then it goes full blown when he like starts being with
And
the.
a really-
when he starts banging
the-
Rachel.
yeah, when he starts banging Rachel, and it's like, okay,
Really
well, this is
described
fucking
her,
ridiculous. And he
childlike
only,
but mature body.
yeah, and he
Yeah,
only,
I didn't like that
and he
one.
also,
I didn't like that at all.
he also clearly says that he only has empathy for like the female ones, and it's
Yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
well, that's only because you want to fuck them.
Well, yeah. I mean,
It's
I see like dudes at
And I
concerts
mean,
getting
that's what
fucked.
the
I'm like, oh,
other
I'll
android
kick
told
the
him
guy's
straight
ass.
up.
Yeah,
You just
not
got to
women.
bang him before you retire him.
yeah.
That's exactly what he said.
Fuck.
Which is funny because then it goes full circle and she's like, oh yeah, I fucked that guy and he's the only one I fucked that became evil.
Tag him and bag him. That's the Rick Deckard way.
Well, it's Phil Reich or whatever, right? That's what he
You mean
did.
tap him and bag him?
Yeah.
I like his Phil Reich. Is it Phil Reich? Is that whatever his name is? The
I
other
think
bounty
so,
hunter?
yeah.
Yeah.
I like his whole thing where he's just like, well, I can't be a robot because I love a squirrel. And he's like, I've made this bond with this squirrel, so I can't be an android. Because he has this little crisis, too. Which would
Yeah.
suck. Like,
Yeah.
thinking about that, like, just in your day life, like, oh, hey, you might be an android. And it's like, oh, everything's just
See,
fuck.
he's probably the biggest reason why I buy into the everyone's an android thing. Because, like, how the fuck would he not know? Like, he's working with these androids the whole time.
Well, it says he's
Well,
suspected.
yeah,
Because he's wanted to give wanted to give the chief the test for a long time. Is what they say in the book.
and it also says that like that chief was actually a person for a while before he got replaced.
So, like, what? Okay, so it was a real police thing for a while, or was he just in that
It might have
fake
been.
police thing?
I think when they put the memories in you, it doesn't matter like what part of time you're in, because they're just taking memories that have been downloaded into a bank,
Yeah.
and they're just making you that person. So like, I mean, and it doesn't explain it, so no one really knows what's going on.
So you could be replaced, yeah, when he died.
And that's why I think everyone's
Yeah.
androids is because maybe they died in a certain way, then it's remanufactured
It's
the
their
memories in
shared
there, and then
experiences
you.
too when they connect to the empathy box.
Yeah.
Everyone's puts their shared feelings there, so you can
Well, that's
experience
right.
what someone else
the
is
thing
Because-
is, like, the androids can't use the empathy box.
Or can they?
Or maybe they can. Maybe it automatically. Maybe it's like Wi-Fi empathy box to them.
Wait, didn't the one?
I mean, that explains how
I
Mercer
think.
works.
See, and with that, I wonder if they can, but they choose not to, and it doesn't go into anything. You don't
Well,
know
that's
if like
the whole
they're
reason
breaking
that they
off.
attack Mercerism is because they can't use empathy boxes. That's why, like, you find out that
Yeah, that's
Buster
why they're
Friendly
so
is
mad at
a
him.
is a android because like he goes after it like all the time, and then they're like, here's the evidence of why it's fake. And then it's like, okay, well,
Right.
yeah, they totally can.
But is it
And
because-
they hate the idea that like humans can do that?
But is it humans? We don't know. Is it? Are they still like enslaved? Like, it's not the best use of the word, but are they still like under that control? Is it the way to control the population? And the androids that are retiring are people that have broken away?
If they were androids, that have to be a different kind that are receptive to that thing, because clearly the new androids aren't.
But they haven't. They don't say
don't.
that. And the thing is, like,
So-
we're all inferring because it doesn't give you information to be able to like look at this world with a
the
real
last
light.
few androids that he goes to retire do say that. They say that they specifically that they can't do it.
Yeah, they do say they can't.
That's what I'm saying. But like, are they? We don't know what's real and what's not, though. That's what I'm saying too. Is like,
Well, that's
we
the
don't know
whole-
what's
I think we do.
manufactured
I
feeling,
think,
what's
I think you're
manufactured
reading
not.
too much into it.
I think,
I think that it seems that way because the author didn't bother to describe anything or try to like do anything. So it's like it just seems like it could be anything when it's not.
I
They're
think
all
that's
robots.
kind of the point, though, is to blur the lines between what's alive and what's not alive. That's like the whole point of the book.
Yeah, but that could be done in a much better way than just not bothering to explain.
I mean, we're
literally
not. I'm not.
fucking
I'm not
anything.
arguing
Yeah.
that, but
I think that's what it is, though. It's like deciding what is life and like what makes life worth living. Like, is it worth living if you have to experience emotions through this machine? It's. I think that's really kind of what it's playing with, but it only plays with it. It never like brings it to climax.
Yeah.
It just like fondles.
it just edges you.
Yeah, it just gets you aroused and then it goes to sleep like a fucking heartless bitch.
It's like the Chinese stress balls you have to rotate in your hand.
Yeah.
That's my fondle thing.
Yeah.
Just twisting his balls around.
But it never quite gets you there. You know what I mean? Like it's so like I like the book, but at the same time I really don't like the book. It's
Yeah,
like this
that's-
weird mix.
That's where I'm at,
that's
too.
accurate. I didn't hate the book, but I wasn't impressed by it either.
It took me-
maybe we're just stupid androids who don't understand empathy.
It took me so long because, like, for one, I didn't have a credit to listen to it, so I had to read it. Which is like it's not a long book. I just couldn't really get into it like the way I got into Dune. Because Dune, I was reading every single night. Like
Yeah.
every time I got off work, I was hitting it up. And this one, I just couldn't. Like I get a little bit. I'm like, and then they get to a cool part, like where he's gonna start retiring people, and it just never pays off in that way.
See,
I expected it to be more of like a neo noir kind of thing, and maybe that's for me. That's why it ruined it, is because I had different expectations for what it really was.
I wanted that too. I wanted it to be like a noir style thing because that's what
Yeah,
the movie
the movie
is.
was like
that.
And it's he's a bounty hunter, and it's like and it kind of has that like style when it's because it's like it's first person. He's like describing what's happening to him, and I was like, he's just boring. Like he's not really describing anything in a way that like would be interesting. And then you get to the parts with Isidore, and then that's like way more interesting because he's like, I don't know, he just had more of a personality than Rick Deckard did, and it's like it could be because he's using the mood organs and whatever.
Human.
But like he's a majority of the book. Like you got to be more interesting. And he just wasn't. Like it didn't.
Yeah.
Like he didn't have the struggle with wanting to retire them or not. Like it only happens later when he discovers he wants to fuck the robots. It's like it's fucking stupid because he's like the whole time he's like, oh, I need to replace my electric sheep. I need a real animal, and that's 90% of the book of just Rick is just like, I need a real animal.
I wanna
need
go
a
in-
real animal.
I wanna
need
go
a
in-
real animal.
That was his
I
only
want to fuck a
motivation.
robot. I want a real animal.
I want to fuck a robot. I am a real animal.
Yeah. I want to fuck a robot sheep. I want a real animal.
Bro, I can't believe Rachel threw his fucking real goat off a building.
Yeah.
What? The balls on this android woman. Like she just like goes and she just throws this animal off. And it's like, you bitch.
Yeah.
Because maybe I guess it's because she's mad he retired him, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because that was part of the deal. He said, hey, come down here and we'll hang out, and then I won't kill him if you come down here. But he does it anyway.
Yeah, he does. Because he wants the goat.
Well, it's because he has to.
Yeah, it's his job. Like he's got to do, he's got to do, and that's what the Mercer tells him too. He's like, you have to do it even though you don't want to.
Plus, she betrayed the deal too because she did say that she'd help him out.
I've altered the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
That's right. But yeah,
Yeah.
fucking man, just the entirety of like Isidore was much more interesting. Like that's when like Schweitz said he had his eyes glaze over, and it's like I did the same thing, like pretty much the entirety of like Rick Deckard. But then it was Isidore, and I was like, oh yeah, well, I'll listen to this part.
Which sucks because I wanted Rick Deckard to be the best part of that book. Like,
Yeah.
so bad. I wanted it to
I
be the
didn't
best
even
part.
know like
Never
Isidore
go
was a
full retard.
character. But I was like, oh yeah, as I said it in the chat too. I was like, you know what? The retarded guy is much more interesting than the main character.
Yeah.
I mean,
He is.
by far.
And I think it's interesting because he believes so much in empathy that it shows too, like
Yeah,
how he
he-
acts.
he-
He actually is like a person that actually feels legit empathy with or without the box.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think there's a lot of stuff in
The
there.
man in the box.
Yes. I think there's just a lot of stuff in there that's kind of stupid. Like, the empathy box and the Mercer thing, like,
Yeah, the religion thing, like
it's just kind
I-
of dumb. I don't know.
I want to see what religion, like if he was a part of one back in the 60s. Because sometimes it kind of sounds like it's religious propaganda too, where he's like, if you're religious, you have empathy, and if you're not, you're pulling legs off spiders because they have too many.
Yeah.
I wanna
That whole
see.
scene to me, how androids are supposed to be super logical and stuff like that. She's like, "Oh, it has too many legs." That's just a sociopathic thing.
Exactly.
It's like,
well, that's
So is that the
thing, is,
malfunction
like-
with androids? Is it become sociopathic instead of not empathetic at all?
Well, I think it was like they're more, they're supposed to be sociopathic a little bit because they don't give them empathy, like at all. Like
Yeah.
they just,
This is not fair to things that have
which
two
is why I
legs.
think it's fucking retarded that they don't like understand that they will be killing people. It's like,
Yeah.
It kind of goes into the whole iRobot thing.
you don't give
where it's
them
like,
empathy, and you're
just start
surprised that they kill people and run away and don't want to be slaves. I'm sorry, what?
Slavery is fantastic, is what they're saying. I'm not saying
They're
that.
basically bred beings to be slaves, yeah. And then they just are like, you know what? Let's just not give them empathy. Let's piss them off, and let's be surprised that they go on a murder spree.
Let's piss them off.
Yeah.
We're gonna piss in their Cheerios. They're really gonna riot.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what happened.
It's funny.
That is basically the story.
Yeah, I think there are like sequels to it that aren't written by this guy. So there's like extended universe stuff.
Did he write sequels? Did you say or no?
I don't think it was him. I think it was someone else. Like,
Interesting.
I don't really want to read them though. I mean, I'm kind of like
because
done.
you read this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of like done. I don't know. I think the movie did a much better job,
Yeah.
and I really like the second movie a lot too. So I mean, for everyone that read this with us, if you haven't seen the movie, I recommend watching that. I don't really know if I can recommend the book though. Honestly, like it's just kind of boring. It's just kind of slow, and it has really interesting themes, and I liked a lot of the.
It has interesting themes, but every time it tries to make a point, it doesn't.
Yeah, it gets close.
It like brings them up, and then it's like, yeah, okay, that's it. Yeah. That's all we're gonna do with that.
Yeah, it's really too bad because it had a lot of potential, and like Cameron said, it was really cool. Like sometimes, and then like it would just never pan out to be really, really cool. It's just like, yeah, it's kind of lame. So I don't know. I think this might be the most disappointing book that we've done so far for me.
yeah, it definitely wasn't what I expected it to be.
But,
I'd agree.
I mean, but if you like the movie, then I do suggest reading the book, just because that's where it came from.
yeah, I'm glad they got rid of the Mercerism stuff in the movie. Though, made it just cooler. It's such futuristic noir,
Right.
which this kind of is, but like not at the same time.
Yeah.
It like plays with it and then just fails.
Well, noir is also kind of like a mystery sort of thing, and there's no real mystery in this.
No,
Yeah.
because he gets the poop sheet and knows exactly where everyone is.
Yeah, he knows where everyone is. He knows who he's going after. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he knows everything from the beginning. It's basically.
I mean, he
just like,
started on the path of unwinding what androids really are and are they alive, but he never finished.
No, because he gave
That.
up.
No, I think the point is that it doesn't matter. Like that's why it didn't matter to him at the end. He accepted that it doesn't really matter. But like, I feel like the movie got to that
Yeah,
point a lot better.
Yeah, he decided he's going to keep doing his job, and then he's going to take care of this electric toad because it doesn't really matter, and he doesn't care.
Then
Yeah.
Linkin Park plays for the closing theme of this book.
Yeah,
It never really mattered.
I mean, like, and that I like that theme. I like the idea of like figuring out what life is, because there is something really weird about, humans at the very least, because our ability to like plan for the future, and like the fact that we know that we're going to die eventually and we can adjust things for that sets us apart from animals. And this, I feel like it's an attempt to kind of like discover what it is that makes us that way. But I just don't know. I don't think it got there like at all, which is really disappointing, because it's a really cool idea to think about. Like, what is it that makes us us? Like, if we cloned ourselves, it still wouldn't be us. You know what I mean? Like, because there's something in you. It's like, it's not really, I don't know if it's your soul or if it's your consciousness, but it's something that can't be duplicated. But the book like just fucks off at the end. It doesn't,
literally the only difference
good
between
investigation.
people and the androids was that they didn't have empathy.
Have you guys seen Altered Carbon?
Yeah, Altered Carbon was pretty sweet.
I haven't watched it, no.
Because it goes into consciousness is, now downloadable, and the body's just a vessel for your consciousness, so you can switch.
Yeah, but like, is that even truly possible? Is the thing?
But
though,
but that begs the question: is that downloaded conscious? It's not really you at that point. Like,
yeah,
it's a copy of you, and then when you're uploaded somewhere else, it's still all your same experiences, everything you've done, but it's just a copy of you,
right? But
because even the show will go into people can be double sleeved, where there's two of the same person, and they both have their own individual experiences. So it's never really you.
Yeah, and like what I'm interested in is like if we can still carry on after our body dies, like whatever it is that makes us us is able to be transmitted, and I don't think it is.
Don't think so.
And that's why
I just think a copy of you can go on, but but
I don't care about a copy of me. I want me, man. I want me to live forever.
Your death is still death.
Exactly. Yeah.
But to everyone else around you, maybe they get to still see you.
Yeah, but fuck
to
that.
them, it's you're going on. But in my opinion, you're dead.
And so I like it. It sort of went into that a little bit, but again, not really much. I mean,
yeah.
It just said that, well, I guess it doesn't matter. It's like, I guess, maybe for you and your fucking post-apocalyptic shithole, but I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting.
Dude, wait till his xenomorphs come for them.
Yeah.
The fact that it's the same universe makes me so happy, like every time.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the director initially, Ridley Scott, did change the ending. I think the writer said that Deckard was supposed to be an android. When he wrote the screenplay, so I assume he inferred that from the book, most likely. But then, he kind of changed it around. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I just think it's okay. It's really cool sometimes, really lame other times. I think the retarded guy is the best character by far. I'm glad they didn't kill him. I was like, if they kill him, this book sucks.
Well, they tried to.
I thought that too. I was like, oh man, if Isildur dies, man.
But he's the only one that has an actual real a story arc.
Yeah.
And change in progression.
Yeah, he's the only character with an arc.
Which is nice to see.
I mean, I guess you could say that Rick Deckard accepting having an electric animal finally is a change.
Yeah, I guess.
Especially since the entirety of the book is I want a real animal. I need to take care of a real animal.
Yeah.
Took a lot of balls for him to show his neighbor, too. I was always kind of interested with that, where he's like, with horses. Like, I'm going to have 2 horses. And he's like, hey, give me a horse. And he's like, no. And he's like, well, mine's a robot. So, you should.
Me.
Yeah, and it's like, well, that didn't really make sense to me either, because it's the point where he's like, you don't tell people because it shows your weakness and you're like, how poor you are.
Yeah.
And he just does it. Like, right after he has this whole explanation, he's like, just kidding, it's a robot. And it's like,
he just stopped caring about society and what society is.
Yes.
He was a midlife crisis.
I don't care. He's going to get retired because he's an android.
Yeah. Yeah, he gets retired by...
Iran's actually a human, and she's when he's sleeping.
Yeah. He gets retired by Ryan Gosling.
See, that's why I think it'd be stupid for him to be an android, because he cares about his life and with his wife and stuff. That's one of the reasons why he wants a real animal
for his wife.
Yeah, because when he brought home the goat, she was super happy. And,
the shell that is his wife.
It's because he has manufactured memories and feelings.
Yeah.
It's the hill I'm going to die on, Craig, is he's an
fucking-
android.
It's a fucking stupid idea.
They're all androids,
I
Craig.
hate that idea.
And that's the hill I'm going to die on.
It's fucking dumb.
Oh, but Isidor's human. It's
all
okay.
the
Special
all the
humans.
all the humans that aren't retarded went to Mars.
Yeah.
That's what happened. You got to watch the new movie, man. It touches on some of it.
I like how they talk about how Mars is such a shithole. Like the androids, like we're fucking hated there, and it's like, well, yeah, you would, because you're a slave. Like you're not doing anything.
Yeah,
No one's happy there, or you just not happy there.
yeah. You have to make your own happiness.
It's true. If you're not happy where you're at, you're not going to be happy anywhere.
That's right. I don't know, man.
Also, I don't know why if like all the androids are, they don't have empathy. So why don't they just kill all the humans? Because there's basically
Because
they
they're all
basically say
androids.
there's like one android per person on Mars at least. So why wouldn't they just take over Mars?
Well, remember the tool that Rachel gives Deckard? The thing that makes the
Oh,
androids
yeah.
kind of like
Fizz out.
fizz out for a second. See, that's another proof between Deckard that is not an android, is it doesn't affect him when he presses it, but it affects the
I
androids.
forgot about that.
Because it cuts out the the automatic response to breathe, and when androids aren't breathing, it makes them stop, whereas humans can operate still while holding their breath. And so that was like the little freeze button. So androids would not have the upper hand on Mars at all.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
forgot about that device.
I did too.
Yeah, it's because it's stupid.
And then the
I mean, it
empathy-
makes sense that they would build in a
And then-
failsafe if they built fucking robots without empathy.
Yeah,
But then that android was
Fake robots,
weaponizing
anyway.
the empathy box to make any humans who came in the room feel absolute terror to make them run away, whereas the androids wouldn't be affected by that.
Yeah.
So differences for sure. So that kind of pokes a hole in he's a android.
it could be different models though. Maybe they just made certain ones immune, so they would think that they were real. Maybe.
Nothing is your life
See,
is
that's
a
why
lie.
that
Everything
idea
is
is just
permitted.
fucking
It's
dumb.
permitted.
I hate that idea in the movie too, that he's supposed to be an android.
Yeah, I think.
It doesn't make any sense, and it's just dumb to just be like, "Oh, this is a plot twist."
I mean,
haha."
obviously he can't be an android because he's still alive.
I think-
years and years later.
I think Ridley Scott's version is better. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the fact that him not being an android is better.
yeah, it's because that's the way it's supposed to be.
I like that it's like you're not sure and he could be, and like that's the point is that it
Yeah,
doesn't really matter.
It's an interesting way to do it,
but it's like no, he's human.
like if they actually made him
Everyone's
an
androids.
android, it'd be dumb.
Everybody's androids.
Yeah.
Everyone. There's no such thing as humanity anymore.
And Harrison Ford is an old fucker in the new one, and it's supposed to be 2049, so he's obviously not an android because that's like
Because he aged.
decades later. Yeah.
Well, it'd be like 29 years later, right? The original
yeah.
was in 2020.
well, 29 years later, still decades later, Craig.
Well, I know, but I just want
It's
to be
almost
like
3
exact.
decades, Craig.
I know, but I want to be exact.
Unless they made the movie in
I
the
mean, this
90s.
is fact.
I don't know what the movie year was supposed to be for the first one. I don't know if they talked about that
I think they do. I think they mentioned it.
in the movie.
Yeah.
They might, yeah.
Or at least
maybe
it's like printed on a newspaper or something. I can't remember.
if so,
It's-
maybe
it's
he
somewhere,
isn't.
I think.
Maybe he is aging extremely in the movie. Oh. Maybe they were true to the screenwriters.
I don't think they age. I think they just die.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think they just fucking keel over because they're not.
Their
Truly.
cells are not reproducing.
Yeah, yeah. So they're not copying over and over and over again and getting shittier and shittier.
Wouldn't
as
that
time
mean
goes
that
on.
their life should have been like 7 years? Because that's when like our cells like replace everything. Like all of our old cells are dead.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like every 7 years.
I mean, that's how fast your body replaces it, but it's probably like things like the heart organ just give out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
See, that's I don't know. It's kind of a cool thing that there's so much that's out there to kind of figure out, but at the same time, it makes it really lame because then there's just not enough to really, I don't know, dig into. So
Yeah.
it's kind of stuck.
It's too vague for any like real ideas to take hold.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. So, I think so far it's the one I've liked the least out of the books. But there's a lot of stuff to like about it. But it's
Yeah,
like
there's definitely interesting things in it, and
Yeah.
the Blade Runner movie came out of it, which is much better than the book. But
It's weird.
Which is a weird first instance, of like a movie being better than the book it came from.
Yeah, I don't know of any others that I could think of. I don't know. Usually it's way worse.
Yeah.
Because there's just less to be done that translates well on the big screen. But this time, man,
I don't know if they're always way worse. I'd say some of them are like roughly the same.
Yeah, like Lord of the Rings. It's pretty much
Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, I would say, is another example.
Some of them, not all of them.
Yeah.
The sixth one kind of gets off the rails a little bit than it does in the movie. There's a few things missing in that one. But besides that, everything else is pretty much the same.
I think the fourth one's kind of not a super great movie either. But that's because I think
the book is not that super great.
And also the Gandalf switch. Or not Gandalf. Fucking
Dumbledore.
Dumbledore switch, yeah. He's like super brutal, and I'm like, it's just really
that
weird.
happened.
Did you put your name in the goblet of fire, Harry?
Yeah.
I know he does. He does say he calmly asks him
in the book. He's
Like that's
"Did
a
you-"
specific line is that he calmly asks.
Yeah, he's supposed to be really chill.
Dumbledore's a gaslighter.
Yeah, but so I don't know, man. That's just a nitpick, though.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, usually it's the other way around.
Usually I like to read like the books for the movies, but I'm really glad I didn't read Ready Player One because everyone I've heard like that Rick read the book didn't like the movie.
Oh, really?
So I'm happy that I liked the movie. Now I'm not going to read the book now.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of them that I'll read the book because I like the show or the movie.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it. I just
feel like
I guess that's a good reason. I guess
that's
that's a good excuse to have read this.
yeah.
It's because we've seen Blade Runner and we all enjoy it.
That's why I suggested this book. So I thought it was going to be like fantastic, but
I mean, it's what it is.
It's an interesting book for sure. Like I'm glad I read it.
It can be very thought provoking as well.
Yeah,
but it just never gets there to help you.
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
And maybe that's what he wanted. I don't know. I don't know if he wanted people to come to their own conclusions either. I mean, I've never met the dude.
Yeah, it's fine.
So you never know. Yeah, if this discussion is exactly what he wanted from the book, you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. I think that is kind of the idea.
I think it's vague because he's
writing-
lazy, not vague because he wants people to think
Not
about
because
it.
he's a genius.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be considering or wondering what makes you human.
And Craig's an android, so he doesn't know.
No, okay, so the book never made me question that.
Give me
at
your
all.
fucking bone marrow,
The book
Craig.
made me question whether or not the androids were fucking cloned people with like robot brains.
We need to retire him.
All right, because
Androids
I
fucking
kept
clone
thinking
people
about
with
that.
robot brains.
I kept thinking about that the whole fucking time. I'm like, if they have bone marrow, they're not fucking robots.
So then you ruined it for yourself.
I'm just saying that
Yeah.
he didn't think things through, and that's what I thought
feel
about
like
the entirety of the
semantics
book.
Isn't a proper reason to not like a book. Because
feel
really,
like it-
the
I
name
feel
is
like it is.
semantics.
I feel like
It's like if you see something that has time travel, you automatically discount it as stupid
Dude, time
and
travel
not good.
is stupid.
So that's the thing. Like, there's some good shit, like fun reads with shit like that, but you automatically shut yourself down from it because you don't like it.
And that's Craig 101.
You know what was really stupid? When I read, I think it was Fahrenheit 451. It's like a war book, right?
Yeah.
And it has there's like a time thing in it, but like it's not a time thing. It's the guy like going crazy. And I read a review, and like someone was like, "Yeah, it was okay. I've read better time plot books though," and I was just like, "It's not a time plot. Like, yeah, he talks about going back in time, but he's clearly fucking insane." Like. So I was like, it's not a good time plot because it's not a fucking time plot, you ass. Like, fucking read it.
It's the same. Like the plot is literally they burn books. Like that's dumb.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of the other one. No, I think Slaughterhouse 5 is the one I'm thinking of. That's right.
Yeah, I was thinking
I'm thinking of like
I was
old,
like, I don't remember that in 451, but
old,
okay.
really good books that one of them I've read and one of them I haven't. Like that's what it was. Slaughterhouse 5.
Sure, it was an Animal Farm.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Farm?
I don't have Animal Farm.
Gonna ship you off to the glue factory. Your purpose is done.
Yeah, I did get 1984, and I listened to like the first minute of it, and I was like, no, not right now, not right now.
I'm done.
Yeah, I was like, I got to read The Wheel of Time. I keep pushing it off.
Oh my god!
At least you only have 1983 left.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, I don't know. I'm excited to start the next book. Have you guys started it yet? By the way, our next one is going to be George Washington, A Life.
Yeah, I've started it.
Woo.
I'm going to start it this week. I'll have it done by the end of the week.
Yeah, it's.
Well, I just don't believe he was a real president, so I don't know why I have to read about him.
Yeah.
Just kidding. So I found out.
I can't
so
believe
real quick,
you
I found out one of my coworkers doesn't believe in the moon landing, and it pisses me off every time I talk to him.
Yeah.
No, you just gotta be crazier, dude. You
Wait.
gotta be like, you believe in the moon?
No, it just pisses me off because like he'll bring up now it's
Fucking
a
sheep
now-
believes in the moon.
now
You
it's
can
a
see
joke.
the string.
Now it's a joke to him where he's sitting there and he'll be like, "Yeah, that doesn't exist," like the moon landing, and we're like, "Shut up!" It just bugs me, man. It bugs me so much.
Wait.
About,
He doesn't think the moon landing happened?
Yeah, he's like, we've never been back, so that's proof that we never went there. I was like, maybe there's ghosts.
1,000 times.
You don't know. Maybe there's demons on the moon. We don't fucking know.
People have been to the moon hundreds of times now.
Listen, all I'm saying is this is what he says. But then he got upset because I was like, well, I mean, I was like, well, jet fuel doesn't burn steel beams.
Yeah.
And then he gets just as mad, and we have arguments at work.
Yeah.
So, I told him 9/11 was
you
manufactured. He
being
gets really
serious,
upset.
Craig?
No.
I told you Craig's an Android. He's glitching.
Yeah. The glitch is you.
100
That's why the games glitch on just you.
It's because they're trying to integrate with you, and you're not letting it.
Yeah.
It's your virus malware.
So maybe
yeah.
maybe we're androids and he's not.
Craig,
'cause
do
he
you dream?
can't.
Do you dream of electric sheep?
Nope.
You know, I have my dreams. It's weird. I have like a dream canon. Like there's things that I've done in my dream that like carry over months and months and months later.
Yeah,
have you ever had that
I have the
happen?
same thing. Yeah,
Like
It's 'cause
really
we're glitching the
weird,
Matrix.
really weird things that I did once in a dream like a year ago. I like thought about. I had a dream 2 days ago, and like I was like, oh, I've already done that. I really can't do that again. And then I woke up and I was like, is there like some alternate canon, like universe in my dreams where when
So-
something happens, that thing has happened all for the rest of time in dream? I'm like, it's really fucking weird.
So with me, like, hey, when I dream in the same locations, if that makes sense, like in the same world, but in different places. So like when I dream, like I'll go be at like my high school. I'll remember my high school, but the inside will be totally different. And if I
Yeah.
dream of going to the
Yeah.
high school, it's still the same.
Yeah.
And it trips the fuck out of me.
Do you ever have the dream where like it's like the end of the semester and there's a class that you forgot about and you're like, fuck, man, like shit, like I didn't turn in anything for that. I've had that like 7 times. Like I wake up and I'm like, who would forget a class? Like what the fuck? But like I feel like anxious when I wake up. Like
Yeah.
oh man, like did I do that? And then I like a few minutes later I'm like, well, no, I didn't do that. That's ridiculous.
So I had one that I had come back from England and I was going back. And so I was getting ready for the plane, and I got to the plane, and I forgot my luggage. I was like, fuck. And then I woke up, like, I was like, oh shit, I gotta pack, I gotta go. And I started putting stuff in a backpack, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
yeah.
I was like, are you? And I was like, just like, really, yeah, just like jittery, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna miss this. I'm not gonna remember to take it with me.
Yeah, I
hate that shit.
can lucid dream a lot too, where I like control the dream, pretty often actually, like most
Yeah.
of the time. I don't dream of electric sheep.
I used to be able to lucid dream, but I haven't in a while, and I want to see. I want to figure out how to get back to it.
I can lucid dream, but I also have sleep paralysis way too often.
Like you wake up and you can't move.
Well, as I fall asleep, I can't move, and I wake up and I can't move.
That's
Ooh,
crazy.
that's
I've never
terrifying.
had that.
It happens to me all the time.
The opposite happens to me. I don't function, so I like sleepwalk. I don't think I've done it in a while. But
I have
Sleepwalk
fallen
when I was in
asleep
it, too.
and ran a bike, but that's pretty much the most I've stopped. Actually, no. There was one time way back the day when I worked for a different company. I was walking someone through a setup of their platform, and then I just started petering out, just like, and then I rebooted immediately. It was like, and then continued talking from where I left off.
Yeah. I think the best one at work for me was I was sitting up there like pushing mail on the machine, and then like I picked up a package and I was fucking tired, dude. I was like
Yeah, you told me
so
about
dead.
this.
And I was like looking at the package, and like my eyes just like glazed over, and it was like ripped a little bit. And I was like, "Oh, the stuff's coming out." And like as I like pass out, I shove my fingers in the package and I like rip it open, and then I pull the item out. So I've got like the package and then like the empty shell, and I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm just like sitting on high on this machine with like I just like ripped this fucking parcel open. And I woke up and I was like, "Oh my god, this is like a federal offense here. I can't be fucking opening up
Sacrifice to the
mail."
mail gods.
Yeah. And I was just like, "Holy shit, man! I'm glad nobody saw that." Like, it was so crazy because I was like, "Oh, I better fix this," and then I was like, "My mail." And I just rip it open, fucking yank out this like fucking bullshit item. Like, oh fuck. I was very awake after that, though. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh man, I can't be doing this."
Yeah, nothing keeps you awake at the wheel.
Like a federal offense.
Like falling asleep at the wheel once before.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. But so I don't know. I've never been paralyzed though. I've been paralyzed in dreams, but not. And maybe I was paralyzed in real life too, or I've been like really slow to move.
I've had it really bad before, where I know when it's coming on, and I can try to fight it and wake back up because that usually resets, and I can fall back asleep without happening again. But one time I was fighting it, right? But it was fighting fucking back, and so I pulled myself halfway out of bed before I just couldn't move anymore, and just draped half on the bed, half off the bed. And I couldn't move for like a
Jeez.
solid like minute before I could gain control again.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrifying, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never had that.
Yeah, same.
Of course, I don't really sleep, so maybe that's part of it.
I used to sleepwalk when I was a
lack
kid,
of sleep
though, too.
will
Go
lack
back
of
to
sleep
that.
will also cause it because your body's just done. But if your mind's still active, it'll shut down your body, and then you're just stuck.
Yeah, usually the mind goes for me. Like, there's times where I've been walking at work, and like I honestly think I've fallen asleep like standing before. Like, I've been so tired that I just like stand there, and like a few seconds later, I'm like wake back up.
Yeah, micro sleep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Used to do that too. Not as much because I get better sleep, but used to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. See, lately I've been able to sleep pretty well, but it's not like all in one chunk, so it's all when I sleep like all fucking day basically. Which is really bad because I have a lot of stuff to do. But yeah, I don't dream of electric sheep. I dream of like failures, which is really annoying. And I'll fail like multiple times, and I'll remember that I had failed before, and I'm like, I can't do it again. And then I'm like, I'm doing it again, not again. And then I'll wake up, not again. Yeah. So.
Did you see A4's suggestions for you for your next book pick?
I did. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
What are they?
Slammed in the butthole by my concept of linear time. And living inside my own butt for 8 years, starting a business and turning a profit through common sense, reinvestment, and strategic targeted marketing.
Fucking A4.
Very informative. That
Apparently, this guy has like a ton of books that are like titled that way.
Sounds
nice.
awesome.
I could use like a fun comedy book, probably.
I'm already 4 hours into George Washington, so
Yeah, no, I'm doing that one. See, what prompted me to do that is Joe's doing biographies of all of the presidents, and he's like ranking the presidents. And I was like, oh, that's such a cool idea.
You would think that's a cool idea.
I
He
do
would.
like the ranks, yeah. George Washington, I think, is still his number one, which makes sense because he is pretty badass. But I don't know. I'm going to find out just how badass he is, according to this guy.
I'm excited. They better talk about his like affairs with his slaves.
I think that was Thomas Jefferson, wasn't
Oh,
it?
same thing. He did the same thing. He had a mistress who was African American.
Oh. Yeah.
You mean black?
No, I
That's
told
the
you.
PC term.
I
now.
think they were actually African American.
It used to not be PC.
I know.
God, what the
Well,
fuck?
see-
But not all Africans are American, and not all Americans are African. That's
I
why
get-
they like changed.
I get a
it to
pass
just
because I'm
black.
tinted, so I'm like, okay.
Because you're tinted.
Yeah. I'm a legal tint.
yeah, it's about whatever this
Yeah. Better be careful. You're
Something that's
pushing it, though.
not dark enough to get pulled over just yet.
No, that's not true. That's happened. I actually went in a rant about that with someone today or yesterday on Facebook because they were talking shit, and I was like, I mean, until you've been pulled over in your '93 Camry LE because you looked suspicious driving it. It's like,
Oh,
shut
man.
the fuck
No,
up.
like I said, I used to get pulled over all the time in my
That's because you're Muslim, dude.
96 Honda Civic. That was before I had a beard,
just
but it's super tinted windows. And there was this one time I was driving back late at night, and this fucking cop pulls up, like kind of like behind me, and was just shining his fucking spotlight back through my window. I'm like, who is this guy? I can't see. Lights hurt my eyes at night. So I started slowing way down, and he kept with me. I slowed down to like 40 miles an hour in the fast lane before he finally passed me.
He's got his little his little Family Guy fucking skin tone thing, and he's like, all right, he's good, and just fucking tears it.
All right, he's good.
Yeah, speeds off. Yeah, I don't know.
Jeez. Yep.
What a time.
Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
time.
But hey, androids. We don't know if they dream of electric sheep. Nobody knows.
They didn't even talk about that, like whether or not they dream or sleep or anything, really.
Yeah, I imagine they don't dream, but
I imagine they don't sleep.
I think
do
they said that they don't sleep. I think that's part of it.
can you imagine how weird that would be?
I beat so
you
many
wake
video
up
games.
and then they're just looking at you. You're like, can you?
They're
please
just
not
like
do that?
watching you.
Yeah.
It's like in
How
what
long have
is
you
it?
been standing there?
It's like in Twilight where he just watches her sleep. The androids just sit there and like, we're trying to protect you.
Yeah, yeah. Except for the Martian ones, they're like, we're gonna fucking kill you the moment you fall asleep.
When you fall asleep, we're gonna probe you right in the ass.
Yeah, we're gonna probe you so hard you fucking die.
Well, I'm still happy I read the book, but it was just okay.
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't any longer based on the pacing.
I'm glad
but-
that you picked it because I was with Dune. It's one of the suggestions it gives you, and so I've been thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna read something else, and you said that, so I'm glad you did because I got to read it.
Yeah, if you guys liked this though, I do recommend getting the I Am Legend book. It's really short, but it has similar themes, and I think it does a much better job with some of those themes. But it's like 5 hours long, unless you get the one with the random short stories. Which I read the book and I was like, oh man, that was really cool. What are these little short stories? And I read 6 of them, and then I was like, I don't care about these short stories.
Not as cool.
Yeah, so beware if you do choose to buy it on Audible. But I mean, you can always just listen to the first part and not care about the rest. Because it's 5 extra hours of short stories, I guess.
They're not very short now, are they?
If there's a ton of them, maybe, but yeah, it deals. I think it does a better job of some of the themes that this plays with, and it's way better than the fucking movie. So there's that too.
Will Smith is a national treasure. How dare you?
He is, yeah. His movie's not always.
It's rewind time.
Yeah. All right, I think that's going to be it for us this time, guys. Thank you for hanging out for this review of Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, or Blade Runner, as they have retitled it. Next time, our next Drunken Tomes will be for George Washington, A Life, which we all will be starting soon, and we'll see when we get it done, and we'll give you guys a review. So we'll see you guys next time.